Salute, BookTube. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. I've been gone for a while, and it's also been a while since I've done a book haul. So I thought in this video I would make a book haul video. Those of you who are regulars on my channel will know that I had a stack of books on that table right there. I have successfully cleared those off, but I thought that while I'm clearing it off, I would, and before I inventory and shelve them, I would share some of the things I bought. Now there's a lot of books, so I think this book haul, like my previous book haul, is going to be cut into parts just to keep the length of this video manageable. But I also try to divide it by subject matter, try to create some kind of coherence to these book haul videos. But I did want to say that this isn't a one-time I went shopping once and got all these books. This is an accumulation of book purchases since probably the last time I did the book haul video, which is maybe March or April, something like that. I did do a lot of book buying. So from March, what are we now in August? Let's say, what is that? 5 months, maybe 6 months. I did do a lot of book purchasing. Again, regulars of my channel will know there are two big reasons for it. Number one, I don't have that many used bookstores in my area, so I try to support these bookshops, used bookshops. Everything I bought, well, throughout this book haul, there'll be some new books, some I bought during my travels, but the majority of them are used. And the used bookstores here in my area, for those of you who are new, I'm based in the United Arab Emirates, a small country in the Middle East. There's only about 4 used bookshops, so I try to support them because if they do go out of business, then I'm in trouble. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, throughout March, April, it really hasn't ended. This region has been at the forefront of a war. In February, March, most of the month of March, but even into April, we were bombarded here in the United Arab Emirates by missiles coming from Iran for the simple crime of being a U.S. ally. So that as well put me in a sort of black mood, a depressed mood. And that led me to just buying books, just hoarding. I thought, I would hunker down, shelter in place as we were advised to do. And I thought, okay, then I'll just read. That's what I'll do. And you're going to see that with the selection of books. Again, most of you who are regulars on my channel will know that I'm mostly a history, nonfiction / history reader. But as you're going to see, this video specifically, I did a bit more fiction buying than I usually do, and I think it's related to the events in the region. I just wanted to get away, just escapism. And so I got a lot of fiction, and I think this first part of the book haul, my spring summer 2026 collection, will be mostly fiction. And the fiction I bought was very escapist. A lot of like kind of dude bro kind of books, a lot of dude bro kind of fiction, but also this is August, and there's an event out there on BookTube in August called Garb August, where you are encouraged to read garbage book, like trashy books. And I think these qualify for trashy books as well. So that's what I needed to escape. So I thought I would participate more in Garb August, but I also escaped literally. I was doing a lot of traveling. Actually, 2 separate trips this past summer. And that precluded me from participating in Garb August, unfortunately. But now I do have a stack of books, and I hope maybe in future years to participate more in Garb August. That's the plan, at least. So anyway, with that long introduction, let's get into the books and just start with the first. I just put it in a pile, and we'll go through them. There's a lot of books, so I'll see. I don't usually, when I usually describe nonfiction books, I just explain from my current knowledge. A lot of these books are random picks I found, just discounted, bargain books. But we'll see. The first book is by D.B.C. Pierre, and it's called Vernon God Little. D.B.C. Pierre, I believe, is the author. And I, again, Garb August, I'm reluctant to participate in Garb August or to describe trashy books because I don't want to offend anybody. Maybe the author, not so much, but maybe there's a book here and I describe it as trash or garbage and it's one of your favorites. So I'm a little bit reluctant to use the trash or the garbage moniker. But this one is the winner of the Man Booker Prize in 2003. Vernon God Little. So how trashy could it be? How garbage could it be? Again, I don't have much background, so I think the best thing to do is, I don't know. Should we read from the background? It says, named as one of the 100 best things in the world by GQ in 2003. The riotous adventure of Vernon Gregory Little in small town Texas and beachfront Mexico mark one of the most spectacular, irreverent, and bizarre debuts of the 21st century so far. So this is a debut novel. It's depiction of innocence and simple humanity, all seasoned with a dash of dysfunctional profanity, in an evil world is never less than astonishing. The only novel to be set in the barbecue sauce capital of the world. Sorry, the barbecue sauce capital of Central Texas, not the world, Central Texas. Vernon God Little suggests that desperate times throw up the most unlikely of heroes. So, again, I think this qualifies what does it say there? Depiction of innocent, simple humanity, but also irreverent and bizarre. What was the word they used there? I saw the word seasoned with a dash of dysfunctional profanity. So innocence and simple humanity, all seasoned with a dash of dysfunctional profanity, and the seasoned with barbecue from the barbecue sauce capital of Central Texas. So, I don't know. We'll give it a try someday, maybe next August. The next one is by Gary Steingart, and it's called Absurdistan. Absurdistan. It's got the U.S. stars, and it's got one, the Soviet hammer and sickle, and then you've got oil fields. Again, we call this trashy Garb August, but it's one of Granta's best of young American novelists 2007. I don't know if any of you hear of these, please do let me know in the comments. But this, it says, meet Misha Weinberg, aka Snack Daddy, son of the 1,238th richest man in Russia, and holder of a degree in multicultural studies from Accidental College, USA. Misha is an American trapped in a Russian's body. Salvation lies in the tiny oil-rich nation of Absurdistan, where a crooked consular officer will sell Misha a Belgian passport. But when civil war breaks out and a warlord installs Misha as Minister of Multicultural Affairs, our hero finds himself fighting for survival, falling in love and wondering if a normal life is possible in the 21st century. Again, Absurdistan. Some absurdist literature there. The next one, I think, is very much a British, if I'm not mistaken, very British subject. It's by John King. It's called The Football Factory. Although the word football is there, and I believe the football there is referring to soccer, I see a horse, like horse racing. So I think this is, it's got a blurb by Irvin Welsh, the author of Trainspotting, which I read earlier this year, trying to escape the events of the region. It says like Fever Pitch. So there's a famous book called Fever Pitch, which I don't know if I've understood, because there's a blurb here that says Fever Pitch with testosterone and 8 pints of lager. But it says like Fever Pitch, it is not exclusively a novel about football. Again, for those of you who are Americans, I think the football is soccer. This is a chronicle of a lost tribe, the white Anglo-Saxon heterosexual who is fed up with being told he is crap. It is a story of a flight from fear by a group of Londoners who have seen the present and know it does not work. King writes powerfully with a raw realism and a clear grasp of a culture which has been denied but cannot be ignored. Sorry, that wasn't a description, that was a blurb, but it gives you a kind of an idea of what this book is about. Just, yeah, I guess white Britons feeling... isolated in their own country, I guess. This one, I think, would qualify as garbage literature. It is by Chad Kultgen. Cult Gen. The Average American Male, a novel. Again, I prefaced this and I warned that there's a lot of dude bro here. I needed escapist literature. These books, I bought it, maybe during March, April, at the height of the conflict. So you can tell where my mind was. My mind was to just get away from everything. So, but then here it says the book that inspired the viral video. So, just let's read one blurb. It says, "It's so primal, so dangerous, it might be the most ingenious book I've ever read." And that's by Josh Kilman. I can't see the publication because there's the price tag sticker. Can I take it off quickly? It's going to take some time. Let me read another blurb. It says, "I can't figure out if this book is a heartfelt dispatch from the front line in the battle of sexes, or a brilliant send-up of the way the male point of view has been misrepresented by militant feminists. I suspect it might be both." That's by Toby Young, New York Times bestselling author of How to Lose Friends and Alienate People. It's a blueprint to have the mind and the penis of the typical American male works. Okay, this is very trashy, but again, very cheap. It was in the bargain discount tables. This next one, again, sticking to male, I guess, dude bro lit, but this is with a twist. This has a very Islamic twist, and I think it's by a Malaysian or an Indian author. There's a sticker covering the description. I'm gonna try to remove that as quickly as possible. Let me show you the book. It's by S.N. Jalali, and it's called The House of Ibn Kathir. The subtitle is "The Competition Begins," and you can see they're like Islamic young boys, like adolescent, and they're in a sort of boarding school. It says it's Yusuf's first time away from home. The Dar al-Ilm Academy seemed to be the ideal place for him to pursue his studies and achieve one of his lifelong ambitions, to memorize the Quran. And so his parents had decided. However, just when he thought he was settling in, Yusuf finds himself with more in his hands than he had bargained for. There's a sticker covering the rest of the description. I don't want to leave you guys hanging. It says, when a mysterious event starts happening around the school, it begins to seem as if Dar al-Ilm has more in store for him than he had ever imagined. And I believe I saw this and there was a part 2, but I didn't pick up the part 2. I don't remember anymore. I don't think I did. I said, if this is good, I'll try to find part 2. So usually when there is a part 2, it usually means the author did quite well, but we'll see. Islamic boys boarding school, coming of age, I guess. The next one, I don't know if this qualifies. I don't even know if this is fiction, but it's by Donald Ritchie and it's called Japanese Portraits. Pictures of different people, a series of intensely personal portraits of unforgettable Japanese characters. So I don't know, is this fiction? The extraordinary collection of individual portraits is perhaps the first book about the Japanese to view them entirely unhindered by the various theories about them. People as complicated, as simple, as inscrutable, and as understandable as anyone else. In these 54 pieces, there are both the famous, Mishima, Kawabata, Mifune, Kurosawa, and the unknown, the would-be geisha, the ex-boxer turned gangster, the scheming bar madame, and the old man dying alone. Here is the notorious Sada Abe, who mutilated her dead lover and whose story was filmed in Oshima's The Realm of the Senses. And here's Oshima himself, dead drunk and making perfect sense. Here's the actress who played Abby, exiled in Rome. Here too is the delivery boy who kills himself for love, the girl who loved a Korean, and the actress, a public idol, who suddenly and prematurely disappeared from view. And there are dozens of others, individuals who have in common, besides their nationality, the fact that they knew the author and that, fortunately for us, he knew them. It goes on. Again, there's a sticker covering the rest of but I think you get the idea. This doesn't sound like fiction. I think these are portraits of real people. Again, I should have removed the stickers before because they're covering a lot of the description, but I think you get the idea. I lump this in with fiction and trashy fiction, but this looks like character portraits, probably non-fiction, but anyway. The next one, more of the same what we saw before the Japanese book. This is by Jonathan Lethem, and it's called The Blot. You can see there's a dice there on the cover. Um, Alexander Bruno is a man with expensive problems. Again, you're seeing a theme here. A lot of men, a lot of dude bro, a lot of just men, just the low lives of society. Sporting a tuxedo and trotting the globe, he has spent his adult life as a professional gambler. His particular line of work, backgammon, very popular in the Middle East, but his luck has just turned. Maybe it has something to do with the blot, a black spot distorting Bruno's vision. As Bruno extends his losing streak in Berlin, it becomes clear that the blot is a symptom of something terrible. There's a surgeon who can help, but surgery is going to involve a lot of money. And worse, returning home to the garish, hash-smoked streets of Berkeley, California, where Bruno's childhood friend, the unseemly Keith... Oh no, the sticker is covering. His friend, the unseemly Keith... Ah, crap, this is becoming a disaster. Keith Stolarski has built himself an empire. Again, more of the same, just very dude bro trashy literature. And then more of the same, we cross the pond again and go back to the UK. This one is called, similar, the first book, the Football Factory book, which I showed, which was about Anglo-Saxon English young men who are delusioned. Delusioned, is that the correct word? Disillusioned with life. Well, this one is more about Asian immigrants in the UK. It's called Londonistan, and it's by Gautam Malikani. It says, our city, our rules. Pakis, Rajamuffins, Britasians, rude boys, Desis, whatever we are, the other guys are better at being it than I am. I swear I got the same phones that they got, but I still look like a gimp. Meet Jas, 19, obsessed with designer clothes, sculpted facial hair, protein shakes, and pretending he lives in the ghetto rather than his overbearing mom's 5-bedroom house in Hounslow. No matter how much Jas tries, though, it isn't enough to sleep with seriously fit Samira or convince hard man Harjeet. Then Sanjay, a proper player with a Knightsbridge penthouse and a Porsche, offers him a deal he can't resist. But will Jas be man enough to pay the price for his borrowed bad boy image? Again, very, very dude bro. Sounds very trashy. Fits the theme. This one is an interesting one. I should have brought the book. It is a special edition of the national bestseller called Imperial Life in the Emerald City by Rajiv Chandrasekaran, which is a book about the Americans in Iraq. For those of you who are those of you who are new to the channel, I'm half Iraqi, so anything that involves Iraq is always interesting for me. But that was a non-fiction journalistic view of the Americans in the Green Zone at Baghdad, who were completely out of depth and unawares of what was happening outside of the Green Zone and the rest of Iraq. And this is a novelization of that book, so it sounded interesting, and it's also become a major motion picture now. It's called Green Zone. There's Matt Damon. The movie, I think, featured Matt Damon. But who is the author? Is it? It's from the director of The Bourne Supremacy and The Bourne Ultimatum. Winner of the Samuel Johnson Prize, the Ron Ridenhour Prize, finalist for the Helen Bernstein Award for Excellence in Journalism, and the Los Angeles Times Book Prize. So the non-fiction was very popular. Okay, so it's credited to the same author, but who did the journalistic view of the Green Zone in Baghdad during the Iraq War, the American invasion of Iraq. But this is a sort of novelization. I hope it's not the same book that I have already, because then that's just that would be a duplicate. But it's a different cover, and it's a motion now it's become a major motion picture. So let me see if I don't know. We'll see. The next one, okay, we're going back to Dude Bro Trashy Lit. This is by Janine Capo Cruset, and it's called Say Hello to My Little Friend. Famous phrase, I think, from the movie Scarface, which is very dude bro, with Al Pacino. It says, failed pitbull impersonator Ismail Reyes, you can call him Izzy. might not be the Scarface type, but why should that keep him from trying to get the money and the power? Growing up in Miami after fleeing Cuba has shaped him into someone who dreams of being the king of the 305, which I believe the 305 is the area code of Miami. And after finding himself at the mercy of a cease and desist letter from Pitbull's legal team, Pitbull is the famous R&B singer, if I'm not mistaken, and living in his aunt's garage turned efficiency, Izzy embarks on an absurd quest to turn himself into a modern-day Tony Montana. That's the character, the Scarface character Al Pacino plays in the movie Scarface. When Izzy's efforts lead him to the tank that houses Lolita, a captive orca at the Miami Seaquarium, she proves just how powerful she and all the water around her really are. What? Okay. And the truth surrounding Izzy's boyhood escape from Cuba surfaces. The novel reckons with the forces of nature, with the limits and absence of love, and with the dangers of pursuing a tragic inheritance. Well, it's dude bro lit sounding, but the author is very much looks like a woman. So I don't know. I really don't know what to say. We'll see, I guess. This next one, again, I put this under trash, but this comes highly recommended on BookTube. People swear by this author. It's Don Winslow, City on Fire. And I think it's more of the same. There's blurbs by Stephen King. It says, two criminal empires together control all of New England until a beautiful modern-day Helen of Troy comes between the Irish and the Italians, launching a war that will see them kill each other, destroy an alliance, and set a city on fire. Okay, I just watched the Odyssey, the Christopher Nolan rendition of Homer's Odyssey. That's very similar. There's a Helen of Troy, a beautiful woman, and that causes war, but here it's on the streets of New England, maybe Boston. Danny Ryan yearns for more legit life and a place in the sun, but as the bloody conflict stacks body on body and brother turns against brother, Danny has to rise above himself to save the friends he loves, the family, to save the friends he loves like family, and the family he has sworn to protect. He becomes a leader, a ruthless strategist, and a master of a treacherous game in which winners live and the losers die. The winners live and the losers die. From the gritty streets of Providence, okay, to the glittering screens of Hollywood, to the golden casinos of Las Vegas, Danny Ryan will forge a dynasty. Exploring classic themes of loyalty, betrayal, and honor, City on Fire is a contemporary Iliad. There you go, Iliad. A saga that spans generations, a towering achievement of storytelling genius from Don Winslow. And that's a blurb from the Providence Journal. John Land from the Providence Journal. Again, very dude bro-ish, very much fits the theme. Again, more of the same. This is by John Creasy. I think this is I think he's a British author. He could be American. I'm not sure. It's called Model for the Toff. Model for the Toff. Look at that cover. Very, is that like 1970s style? Maybe 80s? When was this from? John Creasy I've heard about. 1957. Okay, this might be the 60s. Could be the 60s. For a year, Hugo Zana, the famous courtier, had his models frightened away from working for him without any conceivable explanation. Rosemary Bell, the best, the most beautiful, and the most loyal of them all, had refused to be scared away until one day she simply disappeared. In despair, Zana turned to the Toff for help, and the pursuit of the world's most beautiful woman led the debonair Richard Rawlinson into unimaginably deep water. It says here, worldwide sales of John Creasy's books total over 65 million copies. The Toff is his most engaging character, so fits the theme. A lot of the books I've shown already are very modern, very 21st century. This is very much, I don't know, late 50s, early 60s. Similar here, I think this is also a British author. This is a famous series, Biggles Flies South. This, I think BookTube made me do it. There's a channel, if I remember, I'll link him. Aaron Hook. He reads a lot of these Biggles books for his book club. Although I think Aaron posted something about him taking a hiatus from BookTube until the end of the year. It caught me again. It looks like an older cover. This is probably pre-World War II. When is this from? 1938. Yes, copyright 1938. if it's still in copyright. But again, Biggles, there's the Arabian, two Arabians, or three gunned Arabian men, so that attracted me. But again, this is 1930s dude, bro, I think. Biggles and co. fly south into an action-packed adventure such as even they have scarcely encountered before. I think this is part of Biggles' big series, and I think a lot of it is set in the Middle East. Biggles flies north, Biggle hits the trail, no rest for Biggles, Biggle defies the swastika, Biggle goes to war, Biggles in the Orient, Biggles in the South Seas. This time it is to Egypt. I'm continuing the description. To the great desert in the hinterland in search of the lost oasis. They are nearly eaten alive by ants, captured by an army of ancient warriors, and almost sacrificed to the hungry jaws of a sacred crocodile. But Biggles, as you can guess, fights his way through every peril. Okay. Trashy, but Aaron Hook swears by it, so we'll keep an open mind. How long have we been going? 25 minutes. Oof. Let's keep going and we'll see how much we can do in the next 4 minutes. I don't want to go past half an hour, but we'll see. This one, again, well-known author, BookTube. I hear BookTube always recommend this author. I think he's famous for his westerns, but I don't think this is a western. This is by Elmore Leonard, and it's called Rum Punch. Again, these titles, you can just tell, you know, if there's alcohol and there's violence and there's ammo, you can tell it's dude, bro, and it's trashy. Miami, Florida, lost control for a second, you're gone. For bail bondsman Max Cherry, control is slipping away fast. His ex just moved in with some Cuban artist. The mob is into his business, and he's broken the golden rule: never fall in love with a client, especially one as smart as air hostess Jackie Burke. Ordell Robbie has made it semi-big with the woman Mercedes, and then Ordell Robbie has made it semi-big with the woman Mercedes, an attitude to prove with the woman the Mercedes, and an attitude to prove it. Okay, that's poorly written. For the giant leap to real wealth, he's using a posse of cracked-up jack boys, and Jackie, the cutest sky smuggler he ever saw. But when Miss Burke gets grounded, all flights of fancy are up for grabs. Whose rum has the hardest punch? Not a very well written blurb, but Elmore Leonard comes well recommended on BookTube, so we'll give it a go sometime. Maybe next August, maybe this August. Let's see. These are I don't know. They're very trashy, but I'm intrigued. This one very well known. Steve Donahue. Again, if I remember, I'll link his video or his channel. Meg, Steve Altman. I'm not gonna read this. It's a. Should I just read it? Better than. I don't know if reading this is entertaining. It's better than I can describe it. But it's about a prehistoric shark who just rampages and just kills people in the water. Really, that's pretty much it. Similar to Jaws, but with a prehistoric like megalodon. I think Meg is short for megalodon. I won't read the back cover just to save a bit of time, because I got a lot of trashy books. We'll keep going. This one is okay. So this isn't Dude Bro. This is a female author, a very famous female author who wrote a lot of historical romances. My mom's not a big reader, but she was a fan of this. I've got a few of this author's books, which I pretty much took from my mom. It's Jane Pallady. This is called The Revolt of the Eagles. News of Thomas A. Beckett's martyrdom. So Thomas A. Becket, I believe, is a medieval character from medieval England. So these are historical fiction, historical romances. News of Thomas Becket's martyrdom has spread throughout Christendom, and the blame is laid at the feet of Henry Plantagenet, King of England. 2 years later, with Becket canonized, Henry's position is precarious, punished at the Pope's insistence for his part in Becket's death. He now also has an enemy in his queen, Eleanor of Aquitaine. She always comes up in history. I was reading about the Crusades and Eleanor of Aquitaine. After her discovery of his long-standing infidelity with Rosamund Clifford, so there's a romance element there. Eleanor is determined to seek vengeance, so with King Philip of France, she encourages her sons to conspire both against their father and each other. Much in battle, the old eagle Henry struggles to fend off both rebellion and plots of his aggressively circling offspring. So, female romance author, but historical fiction romance type of. Oh, I don't know how to describe Jane Pallady, but that sounds dude bro-ish. Henry looks much like the hero, and the evil woman Eleanor of Aquitaine, the evil queen, is the evil woman. You see a trend there. This one, I don't know what this qualifies as, but apparently this became a major motion picture. It's by Ian McEwan and it's called The Comfort of Strangers. There's a very risque cover. Um, there's just blurbs here, but it was made into a movie starring Christopher Walken, Rupert Everett, Natasha Richardson, Helen Mirren. The Comfort of Strangers. I have no idea what this is about. But is it trashy? I mean, it's been made into a film. I don't know. We'll keep it there. We'll go in with no preconceived notions. This is also now motion picture. I think this is a Western, so I might save this for June. June on the Range, famous booktube event about Westerns. Charles Portis, True Grit. I'm not going to read the back. It's just what you'd expect from a Western. Again, this author, this is, I believe this is book 2. I've got book 1. I think this is book 2 in the, or sorry, it's not book 2. This is a series of short stories, but it's the famous pulp author Raymond Chandler, and the title is "The Trouble Is My Business," but it says "The Trouble Is My Business and Other Stories." The first of the 4 cases in Trouble Is My Business, Los Angeles PI Philip Marlowe. Philip Marlowe, the famous private investigator who's in all of Chandler's, he's a big character in his series, is offered a job that leaves a bad taste in the mouth, smearing a girl who's got her hooks into a rich man's pup. These are from the, you can see he's got other books. I think this is from the 30s or 40s or 50s, the pulp golden age. Yeah, originally copyrighted 1934. You get the idea. This one, I think this is Espionage. This is by A.D. Miller. Also shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize in 2011. Snowdrops. Nick has a confession. Or we'll just read the... it says snowdrops. That's what the Russians call them. The bodies that float up into the light in the thaw. Drunks, most of them, and homeless people who just give up and lie down into the whiteness and murder victims hidden in the drift by their killers. But Nick has a confession. When he worked as a high-flying British lawyer in Moscow, he was seduced by Masha, an enigmatic woman who led him through her city, the electric nightclubs and the intimate dashas, the human kindness and the statewide corruption. Yet as Nick fell for Masha, he found that he fell away from himself. He knew that she was dangerous, but life in Russia was addictive, and it was too easy to bury secrets in the winter snows. Again, yeah, I guess you can lump that into dude bro kind of with a femme fatale, a Russian-based story. Okay, this is going to 33 minutes. I've got a conundrum now. Do I continue? Do I keep going? I think I can't cut this. I can't cut this up. Maybe I'll cut it up in editing. But another one. I'll just go through the rest of these because I think you get the idea. I don't have to go through all of the descriptions. This is by Nick Carter, and it's called The Red Rebellion. There's the American Eagle. There's a suggestive-looking woman with a gun in her hand. The title: "A picture speaks 1,000 words." This one again, J.B. Priestley, an inspector calls and other plays. Priestley, J.B. I've heard of, again, I think British author, and these are plays. But I think he's again sort of detective fiction. So this one I was intrigued about. This one is by Elmore Leonard. Did we see Elmore Leonard? Did I see that name? Yeah. It was Rump Punch. This is another one. This is called Djibouti. This one I will read because this intrigued me. It says Dara Barr, documentary filmmaker, is at the top of her game. She's covered neo-Nazis and post-Katrina New Orleans, but now she's looking for an even bigger challenge. So Dara and her right-hand man, Javier, head to Djibouti on the Horn of Africa to tackle modern-day pirates. But they soon find a whole lot more than they bargained for and quickly learn that almost no one in Djibouti is what what he seems, not what she seems, what he, very dude broish. A mob of colorful characters patrols the seas, including a pirate chief with a taste for fine cars, and an Oxford-educated sheikh who scams of his own, with scams of his own. So that sheikh, the Arab sheikh, intrigues me. And then there's the gun-toting Texas billionaire Billy Wynn and James Russell, an American Al-Qaeda convert who wants to blow up something big. As hijacked tankers line up like floating bombs, Dara and Javier know it's time for a showdown. Let me just complete. There's about... Sorry for getting out of camera. Just 5 more. We'll do it really quickly. This one is called Lost Luggage by Jordi Punti. It's about 4 men, Christophe, Christopher, and Christofol. 4 brothers, son of the same father and 4 very different mothers. Yet none of them knows of the other's existence. They live in 4 different cities, Frankfurt, Paris, London, and Barcelona. Dude broish, I think you get the idea. This is by Saku Endo, Foreign Studies. I think these are just, I don't think this is fiction. I think this is non-fiction. This is a Japanese man who goes to Europe, I think France, as an exchange student or as a foreign student. And it's just his recollections of life as a Japanese in Europe as a student. This is Gomorrah, Tom Chatfield. What he knows can kill him. This is Gomorrah, this is hell, this is the man who can't stop them. I believe it says an exclusive online marketplace where anything and everything is for sale. Guns and porn, identities and elections, lives and deaths. Okay, enough said. This one, Dude Broish, The Player's Ball. I think this is non-fiction though, by David Kushner. A genius, a con man, and the secret history of the internet's rise. And you can see again the laptop with a scantily dressed woman. 1994, visionary entrepreneur Gary Crayman used a $2,500 loan to create the first online dating service, Match.com. So this is the story of Match.com. Again, Dude Broish, Michael Cardos. It's called Blue. You've got cards on the cover. Very Dude Broish, just from the title. Something about magician. And then the last one, this is, again, we go back to Britain, Martin Amis, famous author, London Fields. I always mix up who's the father, Martin Amis, and then it's a father-son, both of whom are famous authors, but this is, there is a murderer, there is a murderee, and then there is a foil. Everyone is always out there searching for someone and something, usually for a lover, usually for love, and this is a love story. Okay. London Fields. So, okay, I'll wrap this up. Almost 38 minutes. Thank you. We'll do another part of this book haul. I got a lot of books, again, over a course of many months. But for now, I think 38 minutes is quite enough. Apologize for the length of this video. Do let me know if any of these ring a bell to you, or if you can recommend any of these garbogus, trashy, dude bro kind of lit, but again, escapist literature for me, because of the situation that we were facing. A lot of these I purchased. You can tell I was purchasing it at the time of great peril, and I just needed an escape. But I'll wrap this up, BookTube. Thank you so much if you made it this far. Salute, BookTube.